On our briefing today, we got Mr. John Shimmin, Economic Development. We don't often see you in front of the cameras. You're not one for putting yourself forward too much. In fact, I don't think you actually like this too much, do you, being interviewed?
I'm learning that it's a necessary part of the job is to try and communicate. We've got a good message to give, and I think at times politicians, even if a little bit hesitant, need to be out there. So we've got some good news stories, some bit controversial, so always glad to be invited.
Okay. Well, intellectual property legislation, let's deal with what's going towards Tynwald this month. I mean, this is, well, you tell us exactly what it is.
It's a little bit dry for most people, but it's actually making sure that we keep up to date with technology and innovation and creative industries, all of which have an intellectual property, and the people who own those properties need to make sure they're protected into the future. So this is something that we consulted on back in 2011. It's taken longer than any of us would have liked. For the small number of people in business for which this is important, this is a big step forward.
I mean, the EU's got this in place, hasn't it? Well, they're putting it in place.
This isn't going to generate massive amount of extra business, but we can and are losing business because we don't have it up to date. So this is getting up to date with the UK standards to make sure that we keep business and can attract some business in. So at the moment, this is a gap which we're trying to plug. There'll be more coming forward in the future. It's important and it's taken longer than I would have liked. However, it's coming now.
Why is it taking longer?
Part of it is we've got to consult on some of these issues with the UK. Part of it is the sheer volume of work that we're trying to do. Although many of your viewers will think that there's too many people working in government, in certain areas of legislation and bringing these things forward, there is a pinch point where we don't have enough people to get through. One of the other items coming forward is the secondary school teachers, and that's a work permit issue. We're working through a control of employment bill. That's going to come forward. But again, the enormous amount of time for a very small number of people to get these coming forward means that I haven't got the time to wait now on the secondary school teachers. So we're bringing forward a proposal that they would be exempt from work permits, because it's now when the jobs are being advertised, when the interviews are being taken place for a start in September. And for years, the schools have found that they've had very good candidates because they couldn't guarantee a work permit for several weeks. They go off and be interviewed and get a job somewhere else. So we're losing some of the best in specialist areas, and that's disadvantaging our children. So this one is taken out of step a little bit. We'll come back and talk broadly on work permit futures, but this is just a small one to plug an identifiable problem.
And you can get that on the nod, can you? I mean, just a quick decision in Tynwald is enough, or you need to change the legislation?
I have the powers with Tynwald approval. If it goes through in Tynwald, then yes, that would be automatic. However, I understand that it's contentious. I understand that some people will see when you've got unemployment, when you've got people who are graduating as teachers, want to come back to the island, shouldn't have an impact on those. But all the parents and young people who have experienced a non-specialist teacher taking them for exam subjects is actually unacceptable. And in the past, we've lost some really good teachers in areas of special technical natures that we can't get here, and therefore we are doing second best. I think we deserve to give our kids the best.
And this other thing then, these other new jobs you're going to create, which aren't government jobs, they're, what, are they contract jobs?
Yes, they're moving away, and I think, again, most people would accept that civil servants, whether you love them or hate them, have certain skills and qualities. What is happening is that within the employment economic areas, we need specialists. Now, civil servants by nature have many skills, but some of those are risk averse and maybe don't have the practical experience to work in the private sector. So what we're doing is freeing up other posts. We've restructured so that this isn't costing more money, but we're wanting to bring in people for 2 or 3 years on a contract without a pension, but to bring them in not on a civil service pay scale, but a pay scale commensurate with the skills they bring to actually attract business and jobs and money to the Isle of Man. So we'll be looking to the private sector to bring people into government, work with us in order to grow the economy.
So you haven't got people already lined up. This is an actual...
No, it is a step forward, but all of our competitors really are pushing this out. If you look at Jersey, Guernsey, Malta, Gibraltar, they have teams of people who effectively are outside of the civil service going and generating new business. We're looking at a small number of people that we can have that go and do that type of work, that they're not civil servants. They're not struck within a system of terms and conditions the same as civil service. I can't do that without getting approval of Tynwald. I think Tynwald want us to go out and get business. I need the tools One part of that is tying in with the retirement of Tim Craine, who's been a great servant for the Isle of Man. But as he goes, that gives us a bit more freedom to bring in an e-gaming director who's a specialist in that area that Tim's been covering really well. But we can bring somebody in who's at a higher level, which hopefully will generate more opportunities for our people.
So he's leaving, this is Tim Craine, after 34 years of service. He's been a busy boy recently, though, covering, hasn't he, and doing...
He's been a fabulous servant. I can't speak highly enough of Tim and many of our civil servants who are quite often criticised unfairly by people who don't understand the commitment they put in. Tim is a real workaholic. He's going to be sadly missed. His going, though, allows us to bring in others who may have more specialist skills in those areas we see that we need. So we wish Tim well. He'll carry on doing things into the future, but after 34 years, he's taking the opportunity to have a change.
Okay. Before we go, how are you enjoying the job?
Love it. I said that to you last time you interviewed me, and I said come back in 12 months and hold us to account. We will grow the economy by 4% this year. We have grown at 3% this year gone, and that compared to all of our competitors is remarkable. Look on the bright side. We have low unemployment, even though it's rising temporarily this month. That always happens in January. The reality is we will deal with long-term unemployment. We will deal with the economy to a level where we continue to be growing. The island has a fiscal problem where there's financial difficulties that the Treasury are dealing with that is impacting on people's lives. Economically, we are a real success story. We'll continue to be a success story. And the more people actually realise that there's a difference and understand that actually we are creating and generating new jobs, new revenue, and still being successful, then we can get behind that flag and the island will be successful.